missed you, at least not as much as I missed her. Just admit it, love, I know you did it, love. So pack your bags and take your shit and call it quits, love. The bigger picture's out.
And we are live. What is going on, Jason?
What's up, man? Long time no talk.
I know it's been, I think you guys were one of our first. I was looking up, I think you guys were one of our first. So we had Archetypes Collide, and I think you guys might have been the next band that we brought on.
Oh,
after we first started the podcast. I mean, it's been over a year, I think.
Yeah, man. I've gone back and listened to the episode a couple times actually, and it's one of my favorite conversations we've ever had. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I think we've gotten kind of better with the flow of things. So I don't know if you've listened to any of the recent episodes, but we just try to keep it chill.
I've tuned in and out. Yeah.
So I feel like we've gotten better at getting the conversation going and just seeing where it goes. I mean, I think when we last talked, we walked through, y'all's discography and what you guys have already put out. And I kind of want this to, not be too structured, but I kind of want to know kind of what's happened between the last time we talked and to now, because I feel like a lot has happened.
Yeah, man.
I mean, we've been keeping up with you guys on the socials, and it's been fun to watch you guys put out new music videos. The most recent one you just put out, quality, I will say, is fantastic. I think I remember last time that you were like, I'm the quality guy. Like, I want to make sure everything is in tip top shape. Am I right in that?
Oh yeah, dude. Perception is everything in my opinion. So
exactly. So yeah. Cool. So let's kind of start from, when we first ended that first episode back in end of 2020, and we can kind of start there, and then we can kind of see where things go.
All right. Let's see. End of 2020. Shows were still not back.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we were gearing up to, or had just released 50/50 with Kellen Quinn.
Right.
No, it was out. It was out.
Yep.
Yeah, so I believe it was early 2021 then, the last time we talked, because that song came out in the very beginning of the year. Okay.
And that was a topic of discussion, because it was just dope that you guys got to do a song with Kellen Quinn.
Yeah, that's still one of the highlights of my musical career. But let's see. And I believe we were secretly working on a BTS cover. We've had some lineup changes in the band since the last time we talked.
You guys had someone come on, and he's since departed to focus on his solo stuff.
Yeah, we had our original bass player Adam Chenkis step down from the band kind of right as we were gearing up to play our first show back since COVID. So I guess we can kind of start there.
Let's do it.
So we put out our we were starting to write for new we originally wanted to be putting out new music in 2021, but we didn't really put out much other than our EP at the top of the year. And then we put out a cover for the summer, BTS Dynamite. That was cool. And then right after that, we kind of said that the way we were gonna gauge when it was okay to play a show again was kind of when everyone else was doing it, and when it seemed to be socially acceptable. Obviously the vaccines came out, and that was a huge part of it, and all that. So we saw the bands All Time Low tour, Sad Summer Fest and all that was happening. We're okay, I think people are starting to feel comfortable getting into rooms together again. So we were let's jump on this opportunity while we can, because the market for shows is really hot right now.
Because I mean, we haven't been going to shows, and I didn't go to my first show back until September 1st, I think, of last year was my first show back.
Yeah, we did August, so a month before that was our first show back. And it was wild, man. We we had been planning it for about 4 months before we even knew for sure if we were going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like rented out our home venue and printed all the tickets, all that stuff. It was very DIY, no promoter, so there was no middleman taking a money cut from us or anything like that. And it sold out, man, and it was amazing to
Wait,
like
it sold out?
Yeah, man, we actually oversold the show by like 18 tickets. It was amazing. It was so.
Dude, you know what? I'm trying to think. I feel like I saw that, but I just, it didn't dawn on me that was y'all's first show back that you guys sold out.
Yeah, it was. So this was in August 2021. We had Adam had left the band because we just kind of decided, like, shows are coming back. We're going to write all this new music. We're going to take this. I mean, we had always kind of decided we were going to take it seriously, but then it was like, all right, now it's like time to put all the plans in motion. And I think Adam was just kind of in a place where he wasn't going to be able to balance that because this is kind of like a full-time job in itself.
Yeah.
So we recruited our buddy Marco, who goes by Sonic Halls. He was never kind of like fully in the band ever to begin with. He was just kind of filling in for that one show originally, and we just loved playing with him so much that we just kept asking him to play this next one and this next one and this next one.
Yeah.
Kind of with the hopes that he would never leave because we love him, but we always kind of knew that it was temporary. So we play Summer Soundwave Fest. We had kind of like all of our buddies on the lineup, all of the like Orlando locals. Our producer, his band was on there. We had Josh from Magnolia Park come out and do Kellen Quinn's part for 50/50.
Wait, no.
Yeah, dude, because me and Josh go way back. I used to be in a band with him actually. So
hold up. We're talking about that really quickly. So
all right, you want to dive? Okay.
I want to talk about Magnolia Park because I mean, not focus on them, but like the fact that I just recently found them like 3 months ago. No, 3 months ago.
Yeah, man, they're awesome, dude. I'm so proud of them. Like all of those guys, Josh and Jared specifically, I've known them for years, and they're just some of the best guys. Like there aren't people that deserve it more than them for everything that's happening for them. That's
so cool. I love that connection. So you said you went to high school with Josh?
No, we used to be in a band together. Before I was in Ivypaint and he was in Magnolia Park, we were in a band called Of Autumn that I believe Josh and I both kind of left that band around the same time. I think I left like 3 months after him. And it was kind of like towards the end of 2019. There was actually a point where he was in Magnolia Park and Of Autumn. Which obviously I think everybody kind of knew wasn't going to work in the long term, but that's kind of why. But then, yeah, man, Josh has been great helping us with stuff. He's done some of our photo shoots. He's shot, actually, Josh and their drummer Joe shot the 50/50 music video.
Really?
So yeah, they're great guys. I love them.
That's so cool. I love that connection because I mean, I've been on a huge Magnolia Park kick, like back on my bullshit. Like I play, like it's on my like most.
Oh dude,
20
I love their song
songs.
Tonight. Their song Tonight is a banger. I was just listening to it before we got on this call. The Halloween EP or Halloween mixtape is
fire. Like
yeah, dude.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm actually going to see them on Friday because they're on tour with Mayday Parade, and so I'm going to go to the Orlando date. Josh is hooking me up, so
that's sick. I'm trying to see him here in Dallas, so I took photos of Magnolia Park when they played on Silent Night here.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I love them.
They were so good live, and they had that song with Jake Hill.
Yeah.
And Jake Hill was out on Silent Night, so they were able to do that song together. It's just cool. It's kind of a small world. I love it. But anyways,
yeah, dude, where was I? Yeah, sorry, sidebar. Totally worth it though. Where was I? Shit.
You were talking about how
Josh.
came
Yeah,
out.
Josh did the feature. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Sold out, oversold out. Since there was no promoter, we kind of got to like pocket all of the money, which was also nice.
Hell yeah.
We had some like exclusive merch, and that kind of like really lit a fire under us that play like our first show since COVID was a sold out show.
Mhm.
And the last show we did before COVID lockdown was like to 20 people. So it really was like validating in the sense that like we put in so much work during the no shows era of
Mhm.
COVID to
Yeah.
really get our name out there. And that show was so like so validating for us to just to because you see numbers online, but that's not really like tangible. But
Mhm.
to like get up on that stage after almost 2 years of not doing any shows and seeing all these people come out that discovered us online during the pandemic, and it just made it all worth it, man. And it was awesome. Um,
Well,
probably
I
was
feel
one
like
of
I feel like a lot of people a lot of bands took the time during 2020 to like focus on writing, on producing. You know, I have buddies that literally were like, well, we're not playing shows. Let's fly up to Ohio and record some music with Nick Ingram, who's a big producer up there.
yeah.
You know, a lot of bands, Boys of Fall, who I just interviewed last week, which you're gonna love that episode. Great episode, great guys. They talk about some really just kind of, you know, their Distance album. If you've not heard it, it's so good. So
I'll have to check that
after this
out.
call, check out the Distance album by Boys of Fall. But you know, they
Sounds good.
talked about how they took, you know, the time to focus on writing an album that they could be proud of, that, you know, they weren't going to leave the studio until they felt like that was it. And Mike, their lead singer, was like, we left that studio and I knew we had the best album that we'd ever written.
I'll have
Like
to check. Is that album out right? Yeah, right now it's out.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it came out
Sick.
in 2020. I think
Oh,
end of
okay. So this is
2020,
an
I
older.
think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they started writing it in probably 18, 19, I think they said. So it'd been a long time that they were working on this album. And but yeah, it's out now. I think it did come out in 2020 and it's great. But no, I mean, to the point I'm trying to make is that people and bands were like, if we can't tour, we can't go do these things, then we're gonna sit here and actually focus on writing music that we love and we enjoy, and that we know that other people will enjoy too.
Yeah, dude. I think there was like I'm not going to say COVID was a blessing in disguise, but there is like somewhat of a silver lining there. That it really forced people to kind of get creative and to kind of get outside their comfort zone of what a band is supposed to be doing when you take away the main thing, which is performing a show. Like I'll tell you straight up that I don't think I would have spent half as much time as I did kind of studying like marketing if I didn't feel the need to as much as I had to especially when we were locked down. Like I did not want to be stagnant, like getting stagnant with this project if I ever feel like that, like it stresses me out. So I was kind of studying marketing more so just to make myself not go insane. So I think that there's a lot of, and don't nobody cancel me or take this the wrong way, but I think that there was a lot of good that came out of being forced to be isolated like that. And
No, hey dude, I'm
better.
right there with you. I feel like, you know, as terrible as COVID was for a lot of people in the world in general, and I think we can both agree that it was, there were some blessings in disguise. One of those being I get to work from home for ever.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, dude. So many jobs you realize that they can be done from home and are still being done from home to this day.
Yeah. I'll never have to go back to an office for as long as I'm with this company. So I'm just like,
that's
all right,
awesome.
Cool. So that was like quality of life increased, you know, because I can wake up right across the hall and then walk over here and then I'm at work, you know. the time that it gave people back to, and there's also a negative there, right? A lot of people got like, what's that term, where you're just
Like
like, you feel
cabin
like
fever.
there you go. Yeah. Like a lot of people got cabin fever where it's just like, I need to go do something, but you can't. That happened to me because like I was living in a small apartment at the time. And dude, it was so hard to just be like, what am I going to do today? Like, it's like a Saturday, or it's like, I can't do
Yeah,
anything.
dude.
Everything's shut down. And it's like, well, I guess I'll go, I don't know, do something.
Yeah, dude.
It
I
was just
think
so
that
hard,
it really taught me how to appreciate the little things that I used to take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Like like kind of just like sitting on the back porch, looking at the trees, drinking coffee, and listening to a podcast or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
that felt like such a luxury at that point. That and I kind of came out of that whole thing like with a much bigger appreciation for the little things.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was more at peace with myself. I had so much time to like not have to worry about anything and just relax. And I came out of that like I had so much time, like, and I think a lot of people will say the same, that I had so much time with myself where I didn't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry about my work schedule and this and that and how if I'm going to get enough sleep tonight, to
Yeah.
just like really kind of think through all of the things. I hadn't had that much time to myself since I was 5 years old. Like, so I think I kind of had time to properly sit down and think things through and
Mm-hmm.
come out of it a much more like peaceful person.
You
Um,
mentioned like, it stresses you out when you feel like you're stagnant. That happens to me literally all the time. Like with coffee and sugar, right? Like we've had our trials and tribulations over the last like year or so, with
mhm.
Instagram, basically like shutting us down and being the way they were being. And we were like, well, we had to pivot a lot. And there have been times where I'm just like, all right, I don't like this just coasting that we're doing. Like I
Yeah.
need some sort of up. And
Ugh.
I'm right there with you. So I did the same thing. I was like, marketing. That's how you grow.
Yeah, man.
And what Josh and Magnolia Park have done so well is their marketing, like on TikTok. And it's like their music is so interesting and unique,
Oh
where it's
yeah, dude.
like,
And that whole marketing thing too, like that is 100% them. Like they're signed to management and record label now, but the reason they got those is because of what they were able to do on their own. And I have
mhm,
so much respect for them. And I think that there is so much that we as smaller bands should be learning from them, and we should
mhm,
be keeping an eye on them, not just in terms of like how good their music is, but how those dudes run their band. And
yeah,
like I'm not going to give away all their secrets, but as someone who knows some of those guys personally, and I have for years, like I know like how tight of a unit those guys are and how they run their band and how they how they write songs. I mean, they have 6 songwriters in that band. Not
mhm,
everyone's going to get their voice heard the most all the time. And I really respect those guys and how they can kind of put ego aside for the better of the project. I have
yeah.
nothing but respect for those guys, dude. It's something that really inspires me to take into Ivypaint. um I have to sometimes remember what my place is in Ivypaint, because I'm not the lead singer. Sometimes, but I care about the band as much as the lead singer. So when you have a drummer who's not the lead singer and the lead singer, and you both have good ideas, and you got to remember that you both, even if you have different opinions, you're not fighting with each other because you hate each other. You both care, and
Mhm,
you both care about the band. And as long as you can remember that, I kind of
yeah.
went on a tangent a little bit, but
No, I feel that though. I'm a drummer, at heart. I know my guitar here, but like I was in high school. I played the drums all throughout, and that was my thing. But like when you're the back man, right? Like you're just back there doing your thing, and you got the front man it's who everyone has their eyes on and everything. I
yeah,
get it. Communication is key when you're in a
yeah,
band. and if
yeah, man.
everyone's not on the same page, then you know you gotta sort that shit out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, everyone. I feel like everybody it's like a family. You fight with your family, but you got to learn how to communicate and work through things.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is kind of jumping forward a little bit in the timeline, but having a manager now really helps that. Having that third party kind of um, keeping people holding people accountable in the band for what they need to be getting done. Because before we had a manager, I will kind of say that I kind of took that behind the scenes manager role in terms of scheduling and emails and making sure that Christian's doing what he needs to be doing at home and Sean's doing what he needs to be doing as far as writing or posting this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
But as someone who's been in a lot of bands, not just Ivypaint, I can say that when you have band members trying to hold each other accountable, that can cause tension because everyone in the band has an ego. That's just a thing.
Yeah.
Like, so you're going to be like, well, why should I listen to you? You're my equal, you're not the boss of me. You're my equal. So, so you're going to be more inclined sometimes to not listen to that person.
Right.
So to have a manager, someone that's not in the band, like kind of holding everyone accountable so that, band members aren't pissing each other off has been very, very beneficial. And it also just takes a lot of the workload off of us so that, we can focus on what we need to be doing and not like trying to figure out if we worded an email correctly all the time.
Yeah. And do you guys have a management through like an agency, or is it someone that you guys found locally? Like how do you guys go about that?
So our manager, it's a singular guy. His name is Nathan Darmody. He used to play in a band called All Star Weekend. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah, I know who they are.
They were like on the Disney Channel back in the day and stuff like that. Yeah, so he's our manager. And having him as our manager is also beneficial in the sense that as much as he is a manager and understands how to be a manager, he was also in a famous touring band, so he understands our point of view on things and what we might be going through. And so he's not just going to force us into things for money and paychecks, because he has also been in our shoes as band members.
Right.
So it's good. I think it's really been beneficial to have someone who understands how to wear both hats. So nothing but respect for him. He actually just flew in town because he lives out in California. He flew into Orlando last week to see us perform at our latest show. Yeah, it was awesome. And we actually went to his Airbnb and wrote a song with him, and it was awesome.
What? That's so cool.
Yeah. I hope we end up using it. It's because we already have all of our songs done for this coming year, but we're already writing for 2023.
That's cool. That that's how he cares, right? Like he wants to see you guys be successful. I mean, that says a lot. Me being like a third party perspective on it, like I feel like that says a lot. My buddies, who you guys have probably heard me mention tons of times, in Archetypes Collide, they have their manager is Thomas Gutches, who is the manager for Beartooth. And then also Ashi Bishar, the bassist of Beartooth, is also managing them. And so the point you made about being in their shoes, like Ashi gets it. Tom may have not been in a band, but he's been managing bands and has been in the network for however long. And so like those two powerhouses working together to get these guys to where they need to be, that's what it's all about. Like that's what a manager should do. And support like the fact that the guy flew out all the way to Florida from LA to see you guys perform, and then you guys wrote a song with him. Like I bet that was the best day in the world for you guys.
Dude, especially for me, like I can definitely confidently say that out of everyone in our band, I was the biggest All-Star Weekend fan back in the day. So we're leaving the Airbnb to go to the show, and I'm riding in his rental car with him, with Nathan, our manager, just me and him. I'm sitting there and he's telling me these stories about his All-Star Weekend days and his Disney Channel days and who he dated from the Disney Channel and XYZ. And I'm just sitting there like, is this like really happening right now? Like, go, like, it's kind of like the Kellen Quinn thing. Like, go tell Jason 11 years ago, that one of these guys that you were doing drum covers with or to in your garage, that now that he's gonna be your fucking manager someday. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it was another like pinch me moment, like the Kellen Quinn thing.
Well, how did you guys find it? I mean, obviously you knew who he was, but how did the opportunity come to be where he would be able to manage you guys?
Twitter. Literally, I think it was like I posted a link to our Melatonin music video on one of his Twitter posts, and the rest was history. And we just originally he wanted to like write with us, and I was asking him for advice one day on something, and he's offering me this advice, which evolved into him like helping shape things. It was around the time that we were putting Summer Soundwave Fest together, our first show back. And 6 months later, we're signing management contracts with him. So
that's so cool, dude. The power of social media, man. Like,
dude, without social media, this band would be nowhere.
It's crazy, that. So, for example, it's like, I don't know if you're following my personal or not, but
yeah, no, I am.
Yep. You are? Okay. So probably back in early January, I think, maybe late December, after On Silent Night, Kellen and Sleeping with Sirens performed, and I took photos of them, and I shared some photos on Instagram, and like, a few of them put them on their story and stuff like that, which was super dope.
Oh, sick.
And there was a photo that I took of Kellen. It was like a black and white kind of silhouette kind of photo, and he had posted it on Twitter, and I had sent the photos to him. Like, I was like, hey, here's the Dropbox. I sent it to them, and I was like, you guys do whatever you want with it. Like, great show kind of thing. That's just kind of what we do as photographers. And I didn't see Kellen share anything, but a few of the other guys did. And I was like, that's cool. Like, Kellen, it's Kellen, right? He chooses what he does. And my buddy sent me a screenshot of a tweet that Kellen made where Kellen had used my photo. And I was like, oh, that's dope. He shared on Twitter. So I tweeted at under that post. I was like, hey, thanks for sharing one of my photos. I really appreciate it. Glad you liked it. And then I kid you not, he responded, he's like, this photo is awesome. Thanks so much. And then he hit me with the follow.
Dude, that's what I was telling you in the last podcast when we submitted our song to him to potentially do a feature. He got back to us in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he's so like, dude, that dude is so like just genuine, down to earth, like no rock star in that guy at all. Like, yeah, he's so dope. That's so dope, dude. That's awesome.
The same concept. Like, you tell me, like, back in 2012 when he was my Man Crush Monday every single week, that he would share my photo and follow me on Twitter, I would be like, nah. And so it's just,
exactly, man.
It's those moments where you're just like, damn, like, is this happening? Like, did that just happen? Yeah, it did. Like, life is real.
Dude, I feel like as I start to get a little older, I start to realize that certain things when I was a kid that I thought were completely unattainable actually aren't as unattainable. You still have to work hard, but they're not as unattainable as you might think they are. You know what I mean? Like, these things can happen if you put in the work and do a good job at what you do. Like, obviously, Kellen would not have shared your photo if you weren't good at what you do. So,
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? Like, you got it. You're kick ass, and obviously he wouldn't have said yes to featuring on our song if he didn't like the song. Like, just keep working hard at your craft, and you can actually achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's I had an interview just earlier with a guy from a band called In Dying Arms, their lead singer Orion, and we were kind of talking about that same thing, and how just be a good person. Like, egos aside, the music industry has enough egos all wrapped up into it to where it only complicates and makes you look like an asshole. And if everyone's trying to help everyone, we all move forward, kind of thing, right? There's always going to be those ones, but that's fine. If the majority are just decent people, then It works. It's the same thing. We're talking about how like you got the bands and the artists and the musicians over here in this community, and then you have like everyone that puts on all the tours, the roadies, the hands, the techs that are doing all of that stuff on tours. Then you have, you know, media, press, you know, photographers, videographers, and all that stuff. Like there's so many different communities wrapped up in the music industry, and you know, there's just no space for egos and being an asshole and trying to push people aside to get ahead. It really doesn't help you, because if you're burning bridges along the way, then you're only setting yourself up to fail, kind of thing, you know?
Dude, Finn McKenty on YouTube. I don't know if you watched the Punk Rock
Love that
NBA.
guy.
Dude, he's one of my dreams is to just have him mention our band name. But he does all these pop punk, you know, like new pop punk videos that he talks about. He always says a rising tide lifts all boats. And so I like live by that now. Like instead of like, you know, getting jealous of say Magnolia Park, which maybe old Jason would have, I kind of look at that as like a good thing for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, don't be an asshole, be nice to everyone, because at the end of the day, if one person wins, we all kind of win.
Yeah.
But if you're the asshole, then no one's going to want you in their club when everyone's succeeding. So.
Right. Exactly. I love McKenty. His podcast is great. And he's brought on so many people that I'm just like, I want to do that one day. So
dude, did you listen to the one with Nick from Sleeping with Sirens?
No.
Oh, dude, it's such a good episode though. That one and the one with Maud's son are two, like, just fantastic. I recommend them.
I will definitely give those a listen.
That Maud's son one, bro, had me tearing up, literally.
Really?
It was emotional, dude. In a good way, like happy tears.
So Maud's son is an interesting one. Not to go on a tangent, but I saw Maud's son for the first time in 2010.
Wow.
Over 10 years ago, he was opening up a hardcore show where I think it was like We Came as Romans, Breathe Carolina.
Was he with Scary Kids Scaring Kids at the time? Was he drumming for them at the time?
No, this was his DJ stuff. Like he was.
Oh, okay.
He was doing his DJ stuff at this time, and I was just like, "Who's Maud's son?" And so, like, you know, at the time, I think he had like a couple popular songs, and then I just forgot about him. I had no like reason to follow Maud's son, and then all of a sudden, Maud's son's pairing up with Black Bear, Avril Lavigne, like
yeah, dude, Feldman, all those guys, dude.
I'm like, oh shit, this guy had a comeback, and no, Maud's son's great, and he has a great voice too. Like, I wish he would have sang more back in the day. Or at least maybe he did, and I just wasn't vibing to it. I don't know.
And he's just he just seems like such a positive guy too. Like you listen to him talk in interviews, and I'm like, dude, I want that dude to like talk to my children someday. Like he just seems like such a genuinely nice guy. And I, you know, being a kick-ass rock star is one thing, but you know, I like people that are nice guys in the rock scene. You know, let the music be what's tough, but be cool.
Yeah, definitely comeback of the century, like, or the decade. I mean,
oh yeah, dude.
What a
the thing
guy.
is, like, he should be like dead right now. If you've listened to some of his stories about the things that he's done to his body and stuff like that, like he's one of the lucky ones that made it out of that. So, because he was not in a good place a couple of years ago, apparently.
Music
but
industry
he's just one
is,
example.
That's another side of the music industry that I feel like people don't talk enough about, you know, and maybe it's not as prevalent nowadays, but I mean, I'm sure it's still, you know, a thing that people struggle with and whatnot. So, yeah, Maud's son's pretty great. So gearing back a little bit towards the time frame between we last talked.
Yeah.
It's been cool to watch you guys on social media. It's I feel like there's been just a solid progression of, you know, not just music and stuff, but like the quality that you guys are putting out. Like the music video for Bugging Out that you guys put out. Fantastic. Great.
Thank you.
I very well produced, It looked like a film, like music video. I, I was
Thank
I
you,
was
man.
I was very impressed by that, and it's shit like that that really helps set you apart from just being a band to being a band. You
Yeah, I
know,
know what you mean. Yeah, thank you so much. That means a lot.
there's a
Um,
transition that you guys, not a transition, but like, I mean, yes, yeah, I guess the transition that you guys did from where Sean was like walking out of the house and then it like panned and then there's the band and he like gets on the mic and he starts. I was like, that's creative. Like I that's something I remember, watching that. Like that was cool.
dude, that clip too. I chopped that clip up and put it on my personal TikTok, and it got like 10,000 views overnight or something. And I've never
Nice.
gotten more than like 300 views on my personal TikTok. So I was like,
Yeah,
this is sick. That
dude.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Santico Media, who he did our melatonin music video as well, and he did this bugging out video, and that dude just is one of the most professional people you'll ever work with. But he's also one of the nicest. He has like he brings up like a full film crew with him for his
Hmm.
work, and he I will never want to stop working with him if our videos continue to come out
Right.
the way they do. I bet that is 100%. I mean, we came up with the concept, but it takes an army, Santico Media's army, to bring that to
Hmm.
life. So shout
No,
out to
that's
him 100%.
so I have to know. So like this house that you guys filmed in, whose house is that?
It is one Mr. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but it is one Mr. Christian Wheeler's family's house, our guitar player.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's
Yeah,
beautiful. I mean, like beautiful and
you get lost in there, man.
a great place to film a music video. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Sean actually had to go over there with our director for the video when Christian wasn't even home, and walk around the house in the dark to with flashlights while the dogs are barking to map out the whole video, because we kind of did it in that like one take
Yeah,
kind of esque style, and we had to map the whole thing out in the dark, which I think is pretty funny. I wish I was there for that. But
that's cool.
yeah,
No, it's a great video. Came out really, really well. And so that was the most recent thing you guys put out, right? Like,
yeah, we uh I guess I can say this here now. Our next one, I don't know when this is coming out, but our next single and video will be out on March 25th.
okay.
And we are kind of trying to really stay consistent. As opposed to last year, we were kind of recording song by song and putting them out as we were recording.
Hmm.
Um, I think the reason that we took longer in between putting songs out this time, between like Dynamite cover and Bugging Out, is that we were trying to get everything done at one and before putting the first one out.
Hmm.
So we're gonna try to put out music every 2 months for the entire
There you go.
year.
That's a that's a
Stay
that's a solid strategy. When when my buddies Archetypes Collide, when the only reason I reference them all the time is because I see the inside of them
Yeah, man, you're
doing all
close
of their
to the
things.
process.
So
Yeah,
I get to kind of see the process from afar, which is super dope because I wouldn't know
yeah,
anything, from like marketing a band and all that stuff.
yeah,
But
man.
they,
Reference away.
they they filmed everything, they recorded everything before they put out their first single, which I was like, that's smart because all the work is done and you get to see the fruits of your labor get listened to and watched and all that stuff, and you don't have to be like, all right, now we have to get this done before the next one.
Yeah,
That's
you're
the
not
same.
rushing as much.
Exactly, and that's the same thing we did with this what I did this season with the podcast was I was kind of recording, putting out, finding a guest, recording, putting it out, and it was a lot. So what I did this time around is like, I'm going to schedule out 10 bands, artists in the month of February and get it all recorded and then release. And I don't want to wait so long to release. So like Boys of Fall, I recorded in this past week, but like I'm putting it out. But it's like I don't know. There's some hype behind Boys of Fall right now. So I'm like, I
Yeah,
want that one out. There's some hype behind In Dying Arms, so I just interviewed. Like, so I'm gonna get that one out. But it takes me not too long to put it together. But it's like having to find artists, when you're still in the middle of the season is kind of one of
Yeah.
those things I wanted to avoid this time around. So I got them all scheduled, and it's like, all right, cool. I don't have to worry about reaching out to any bands until like the next season, and then we can, focus on what we're doing these next 10 episodes. So
Yeah, I think
when
we're
you
both learning as we go here.
exactly. I don't know anyone else that runs a podcast, so I'm just kind of like figuring it out as I go. And I mean, it's been fun, and we're doing more video versus doing it through Discord. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Are you gonna put the video out on like YouTube or anything?
It's right now I'm open to doing that. We're gonna put the Boys of Fall one out. We're gonna put the In Dying Arms one out. At that point, I feel like we just should put them all out. So if you're cool with it,
you have my consent to use my face if you want to.
all right,
good.
cool. If you're cool with it, and I like, I have like my studio lights and my mirrorless camera. Just got to add to the.
I got my Pop-Tarts.
Hell
and
yeah!
I got my
There you go.
boxes and my Funyuns. So we're good. That's my decor. Yeah. What was I gonna say? But yeah. So I like you. We can talk forever. We just go on tangents. But
I'm all about it. That's what this is all about.
yeah, man. But yeah, song every other month,
Mhm.
all of 2022, basically.
That's great. So like,
and we
have you recorded a song every other month for the whole year of 2022?
Yeah, so basically we have every song pretty much done except for the last one that'll come out towards December. So
Mhm.
we're not in like a huge rush.
Right.
Whereas opposed to last year, we were like trying to just get them all done as soon as we were gonna put them out. But I mean, like Bugging Out, initially was like the initial first ideas of that were like come up with before 50/50 was even released. So we've been sitting on Bugging Out for a long time. And we've also taken many different writing approaches this time around, whereas in the past it's kind of like Sean kind of structuring the main idea of the song on like acoustic guitar campfire style and bringing it to us, and then us kind of just filling in our own parts. But we've taken many different approaches. I would say Bugging Out's probably the one that was written in the similar way that we would write older songs. But I mean, there's like a song called Mood Ring that we have coming out this summer with a feature on it.
Nice.
That is like we co-wrote it with Marco, the guy that was helping us out for a second in his studio. We like demoed out the whole thing in like 6 hours and like a day from scratch. Like there were so many like creative juices flowing that day between me. It was me, Sean, and Marco that were in the room that day. And just I was sitting on the electronic drum set, and we had the keyboard and everything plugged in and just like spitting ideas out. I'm really excited for people to hear that song because it's definitely like the most like out of left field, like different thing we've ever done. I think another thing that's cool about these songs is not only are we trying to not repeat necessarily the same sound that we did on the Blue Light EP, but we're trying to make even the songs within this new EP sound completely different from one another. So
as you probably should, it's one of those things. And I love the crossover of the topics that I talk about with people, because like this is so relevant. I just talked about this a couple hours ago where Orion, and who's in Dying Arms, he's just like, we've put out they're a death metal band essentially. I mean, heavy scream, screams and everything. And he was like, this music that we're about to put out is so good. He's like, I'm so hyped for it. It's, it's not out of like our scope, but it's not like anything that we've put out before. And I'm like, hell yeah. And he actually sent me the music video for it that hasn't been released yet. And I was just like,
nice.
Dude, hell yeah. Like that's exciting. Like that is a repeatable song. And I'm not a death metal guy. Like I can listen to it, but it's not my go-to, right?
Yeah,
But
same.
like
I could respect it.
that song, I was like, I could listen to that over and over. Um, have you ever heard of the band Wage War? They're another
Of
kind
course,
of,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
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 So they're a very, very Wage War esque, and
Okay.
Wage War is killing it right now. So I'm like, dude, that's gonna garner some attention, and so that's the thing. It's like if you do the same thing over and over and over, it's not gonna lead to much because people get bored of things so easily, right? Like
Yeah. It's
it's just
it, it's hard though, because you also don't want to go too far to the point where people are like, this isn't the band that I know and love either.
that's true. Yeah, that's very
So
true.
it's about figuring out that fine line. This is kind of the main topic of conversation we've been having amongst ourselves with writing these new songs, is like, how do we evolve the band, not do the same thing that we've done before, but still sound like Ivy Paint at the same time?
Hmm.
That is such a challenge,
Yeah.
because obviously we all listen to so many different types of music. I mean, Christian, I guarantee you could talk to you about Wage War for hours. And then like me and Sean are like, Sean listens to a lot of indie stuff as well. I'm more like Paramore, like
Hmm.
old, like kind of like mid to late 2000s pop punk. Sean's
Yeah.
kind of like the 2010s pop punk. Um, we all kind of like similar but different. So, I mean, we could kind of, if we wanted to, do anything, because we have different people in this band that can bring in any different type of influence.
Yeah.
Um, but where it's just trying to, I think that we've pulled it off. Um, I think that like Bugging Out is a good example of the band evolving, but still sounding like us at the same time. We've never, other than that little rap section in Melatonin, we've never experimented with using like trap beats
Yeah.
or like synthesizers, but we didn't want to go too far to where it was like the main focal point of the song, because then
Hmm.
that could be too far. So it's about
Yeah.
sprinkling those new textures in while still staying true to what we are.
Right.
And it took a minute to get there,
Hmm.
um, and a lot of debating and disagreeing, to be honest with you, and
I feel
figuring stuff
like
out.
I don't I'm making a solid guess here, but I feel like to be able to differentiate for outside of what you guys had been doing or what a band does and has been doing is kind of finding that one similarity in like every song that you've ever put out. It's like, what is that one thing that makes Ivy Paint? And let's make sure that that's always in a song. And we always go back to that, but we try these things over here and over here that kind of pique the interest of like, oh, I like that. Like, I want to hear that more. But again, this is still Ivy Paint, and I can remember that this is
Yeah,
Ivy Paint
I mean,
because of
I
that.
can explain to you what that is for us, because I can tell you on this next song, I mean, on this next EP, we have some of the poppiest tracks we've ever put out, like let's
Hmm.
say Mood Ring, and Bugging Out. We have a song called Bedheads, which is definitely a more classic sounding Ivy Paint song. Definitely could have been on like the first Ivy Paint EP. We have a song called Quincy, which is like the heaviest Ivy Paint song we've ever put out.
Hmm.
Like Sean goes like all Corey Taylor on you for a second, but then it also goes from that to like this like trap emo rap thing. But the one thing that makes Ivy Paint is obviously there's always gonna be guitars. And is the layering of Sean's vocals and having him like harmonize with himself, like just the stacked harmonies, almost like if you isolate like Sean's vocals and it's just like layers and layers of Sean's vocals in different
Mm.
ranges, it's like it sounds like a boy band almost. uh and that's kind of our thing, is like the rock music with the pop vocals,
Hmm.
and having like four different Seans singing in different, levels, high, low, blah blah blah, layering it.
Yeah.
That's something that I don't think we're ever going to do without, unless it's some like super stripped back thing or something. But
Yeah.
uh, I think that as long as we keep out Sean's kind of vocal effects and stuff the same, it will still sound like Ivypaint. And then with that, we can kind of go here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
No,
something we've talked about a lot.
well, I mean, I feel like that's what every band or any artist has to do. It's, you know, what is it that people fell in love with? You know, you guys obviously are moving up and creating things that people are continuing to enjoy, but every artist needs to ask themselves, like, what's that thing that people do like about us, and how do we keep that repeatable but also not become stale and, you know, stagnant in our sound. And, you know, my buddies, they went from this sound, which was fine for like a post-hardcore band, to an EP that was like leagues ahead, but you knew it was still them. I was like, okay, you know, because their songwriting is just, I really enjoy it. And they've just put out like a set of singles over the last year or so that are all different, but you can still tell it's them. And that's when I'm like, you guys are doing it very well. Like, it's like you're finessing your music to fit into these different lanes that you would normally, like, you know, kind of, I guess, move towards, but you're like poking them, and that's what you're doing to keep people interested in what you're doing. And they're currently in Ohio right now working and writing music. And so, you know, I can't wait to see what they're going to put out there. But again, to that point, it's, you know, that thing, and you just got to make sure that it stays in every single song or track that you put out.
Dude, the bands that can that know how to tastefully evolve their band are the ones that I think are going to have longevity, because you can make two mistakes as a band, really, when you're putting out albums. You can change too much and piss everyone off, or you can do the same thing over and over and over again and bore everyone.
Yeah.
And so figuring out how to tastefully evolve your band. I love using the career. I know they're kind of canceled, but I love using the Career of All Time Low as a perfect example of their first record sounds nothing like their 8th record, but it's the same band, and you can tell. A band that I would say kind of isn't that good at that, but I still have respect for them, is like, most of the Mayday Parade albums kind of all sound the same, so I kind of can just pick and choose which ones I like, because I can't even tell which album they're from. Because and then you have,
well, the thing about Mayday though is, like, Mayday, early Mayday to now Mayday, there is a difference, right? You know, different singers. And I don't know why the name of the original singer is escaping me. He went off and did Go Radio.
Jason Lancaster.
Yeah.
He's actually right around here. He lives here.
Oh, really? Nice. Yeah. So
I met his mom at a Starbucks.
But yeah, random,
sorry.
Yeah. But you know, like, it's like Jason Lancaster in early Mayday is not the same as like recent Mayday, but I love recent Mayday and I love old Mayday. So like, they accomplished what they needed to, because we still enjoy it. But that's
my point is
thing.
more so just like, with Mayday, I think like whenever they're putting out an album, it's kind of like you already know.
Totally. It's like a band. Do you know the band We Came as Romans?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So they're that band, right? Where it's like, when they say they're putting out a new album, you already know what to expect. You know, like they're at that point where it's like, all right, We Came as Romans is putting out a new album. Awesome. I know what it's going to sound like to an extent. They may do some different things, but I love We Came as Romans. And every album I've always enjoyed, but it's like, that's a different way to go about it, but they're still relevant and they're doing something that's continuing to keep people around. You mentioned longevity. Bring Me the Horizon.
Dude. Just so good. So good.
How they can go from what they were to who they are now and being one of the top rock bands in the world, you know, is because they were a Warped Tour band doing death metal music. you know, you don't see that going for a longevity career, right?
Yeah.
And then the moment that they put out That's the Spirit, it went this way, but it was the best decision I think they could have ever made as a band.
Dude, the thing that I think is what's so great about them is they're not like, the reason that they're so good is that they're not always on top of the trends. They're the trend setters.
Yeah.
They're always like a year and a half ahead of whatever sound later on becomes popular. I think that every rock band nowadays, like hard rock band, is just now catching up with what they were doing on That's the Spirit.
Yeah.
And they're already like past that. You know what I mean? Like that's why that band is going to be around forever, because they set trends.
Yeah, no, they crush it. They crush it. Like their recent single "Die for You." I was telling Orion,
dude, so good.
I listened to that on repeat, and like I'll get in the car with my wife, and she's like, "You're listening to this again?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." it's just the melody. Like they crafted that song so well, and that's beautiful songwriting. Like,
dude, I think those guys and the 1975 are the two most influential bands of the past 10 years. Like,
dude, I love the 1975. I feel like the 1975 has like influenced so many indie bands, like that are
not even indie bands. They've influenced the punk bands in certain ways.
Yeah.
They've influenced indie bands. They've influenced straight up pop music.
Yeah.
Like they have reached every corner of the music industry in some way. And like you might not always be able to tell right off the bat, but I personally think that those guys are going to be looked back as like legends 20 years from now for really changing like music culture.
Like, there's nothing that sounds like them, and they're very similar to the point that we made about Bring Me the Horizon. Is no one sounds like Bring Me the Horizon. Bring Me the Horizon is Bring Me the Horizon. You know,
they're their own sound.
Yeah, I talked about this before with the band Issues, you know, Tyler Carter's old band, right? You know, before Tyler got canceled. They created a genre of their own within the post-hardcore scene. Like, no one was doing what Issues did, and then people started doing it. They set that trend, and they were continuing to scale it and do different things with a bunch of different bass lines that Sky Accord was doing. It was great. And then unfortunately it got canceled and Issues is no longer, but you know, it's just one of those where it's like, you can do something like that and like disrupt like the music scene that you're in, bro. Like people will see it and people will notice it. You know, that's why I like Magnolia Park. Like I've never heard anybody like them, dude. I mean, I'd love to get Josh on here to chat with him about that, because like I feel like that'd just be a dope ass conversation, you know?
Dude, just DM him. If anything, I'll text him. I was talking to him earlier today.
Bro, okay. High key, if we could do that, honestly, that'd be so dope. Because like they're doing something so cool. Like I will fit them into this season if we can make it happen.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna see him on Friday because I'm going to see them at House Blues. So I'll talk to him for you. Yeah.
Hell
Shoot
yeah.
me a text on Friday, remind me.
Oh, I don't got your number, but I'll DM you.
Yeah, DM me, whatever, man. I'm on Instagram more than I'm texting anyway. So
I mean, fair, dude. So totally same. If it's not Coffee and Sugar, it's my own. If it's not my own, it's my photography stuff. Like it's just I just cycle through. But yeah, no, like back to y'all's music. It's like if what you guys are getting ready to put out is going to be like a disruptor, and what your scene is, that's gonna be huge for you guys. And we will continue to support you guys and share your music. You just let us know.
Thanks, man. I'll you know what? I'm gonna send you some stuff early and let you hear it and check it out. I want to know what you think. I don't know what you think.
I love that. I love that.
We actually are doing a couple features on some upcoming songs too. I can't say who it is, but we have one tour booked for this summer. We have another potential second tour that's not officially booked yet, but we're in talks. And one of the bands that we're going on tour with, you know, we're gonna say featuring this band, but it's really just a singer. It sounds epic. I'm gonna send that to you. And then obviously our next show actually is South by Southwest in Austin, Texas.
I
I don't know.
saw that. I saw that. And I almost was just like, yo, I was going to DM either you or the band page. And I was like, if you guys roll through Dallas, let me come take some photos of you guys and you guys head down to Austin. But I feel like it'd be way out of the way because Austin South. So I was like, I'm not gonna bug them with it. But that's awesome. Like that's huge.
Dude,
That's
props to our manager for that one, honestly.
That's
like
awesome.
that was like Nathan's kind of like first official thing as our manager. He actually booked that for us before we even signed the papers. And I guess that was a little bit of his strategy to get us to sign, but it worked.
The fact that he wants to manage you guys, it says so much. Like it's not just like you guys approached him and like, hey, will you manage us? It's like this guy sees it. And that's like a boost of confidence. I feel like that I'd have if someone like not necessarily sought us out. Like you obviously you did like DM him or not, you tweeted at him, but like he saw that and he was like, yes, like there was no like second guessing. Like he was like, that seems like a great idea. I'm going to do that. And now you guys are playing South,
dude, I can't wait. Like that's going to be pretty much our first out of state show too. We haven't
really,
cause this band really got not big, but it did most of its growing at a time when you couldn't play shows.
Yeah.
So, there before 2020, we had 100 followers on Instagram, and there was no opportunity for us to go play outside of Florida. So I'm really excited. And then a couple months after that, we have our first East Coast tour.
Nice.
So we'll be going up, I think, as far as Boston. I believe I have to check the routing, but we're going all the way up the East Coast for our first tour. And then I think we're going to hit like West Coast second time around because we're the potential second one.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that's all we ever wanted to do with this band is take the show on the road. So
yeah.
It's happening this summer.
So
I'm pretty nervous about it.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I can only imagine tour is a lot, and you guys not having been on tour, it's going to be an experience, I'm sure. But you guys will
want it to do well too.
You guys will do fine. I wouldn't stress it. Are you guys? Is this if you don't mind me asking? Are you guys opening or are you guys headlining? Is this your own headlining tour or are you guys opening?
So yes and no. Basically, we have recruited a bigger band to headline the tour, but we are kind of the ones pulling all the strings behind the scenes.
Got it. Okay.
So we kind of put it together. We call the shots. We are deciding who is on the bill, who's not on the bill, and we have recruited another band to simply play after us and headline.
There you go. Got it. Okay.
Which I think is kind of a smart move. I don't say
myself for sure. Tour. I mean, if you guys are going on your first tour, you obviously want to be playing with people that are going to bring people, right? Like, so exactly. I mean, you don't want to go out and be like, again, playing for like 20 people. You want to play those shows where people are going to come out and even if they are there for the headliner, like they got to see you before they can see them.
Our goal is to make more fans on this tour. So
exactly. And I feel like that's what touring does. Like there have been many bands that I've gone to go see because they're the headliners that I end up discovering other bands that I'm like, oh, I really like them. And they're very similar to this band that I'm also here to see. All right, well, got a
dude, I can't tell you how many times I've discovered my favorite band, one of my favorite bands from seeing them open for someone else. I mean, I've seen All Time Low at 10 different times, and each time they played, they had 5 other bands opening for them. That's how I've discovered State Champs, Stand Atlantic, Water Parks. Let's see what else. The Somerset. Let's see what else. Just countless bands. The Main, like pretty much every band in that scene that I like, I discovered seeing them open for All Time Low. Pierce the Veil. Like,
Dude, I feel
all of
like
it.
Magnolia Park is gonna blow up on this run with Mayday.
Dude, it's about to happen for them, man. Like,
That's gonna
they're
be such a big one for them. I mean, everyone loves Mayday, dude. Like, and
yeah,
those
man.
shows are gonna go fast. And Magnolia Park being that little logo on their flyer, I feel like this tour is gonna open them up to either put out a new album and then headline a tour for that album, or open up for an even bigger act, because they have that super unique sound that I feel like people are just gonna really gravitate towards.
Yeah, dude, those dudes fit in so many different boxes, so there's a lot of places for them.
Mhm.
I think that's another thing that's very, they're very smart in tapping
Yeah.
into many different genres, so they can reach a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Just, I have nothing but good things to say about those dudes.
No, that's cool, man. Like and it's someone that you can also learn from too, and good, good minds learn from each other and think alike and all that stuff. I was gonna say, you were talking about like touring and stuff. Is there a time that you guys would be coming to the Dallas area?
I don't know about Dallas yet. All I know is that we could potentially hit Dallas. If we're going to hit Dallas, it would
Mm-hmm.
be at the end of summer, because
Okay.
that's when our potential second tour is.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is going all around, not just the East Coast. So if we do hit it,
Yeah.
it will be then. But
Yeah,
that's
because
not a sure thing yet.
right, because I know that a lot of tours that hit the West Coast either start or end. I say start or end, but Dallas is either at the beginning of the leg or the end of the leg. Um,
Same
so
with Florida for the East Coast.
really, yeah, I mean that kind of makes
Yeah,
sense because people either start at like Seattle and just like go down, and then Dallas be kind of like that last stop because there's really nothing much after Dallas between Texas and really Florida,
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's maybe Atlanta. I guess Atlanta's there, but I feel like that would be
yeah.
considered part of like an East Coast tour if you're gonna be doing
Mhm.
that. So,
Yeah,
but no, cool. Well, keep me posted. I'd love to come out and take some photos of you guys. I feel like it'd be, one of those be like, I've known these guys for a long time. I
hell yeah,
interviewed
man.
them on the podcast kind of thing. So,
Dude, we will
uh,
always have you out for free. Come on out, like
I love,
straight
I
up.
love, I love, I want to see that friendship come full circle, like kind
Yeah,
of meeting you guys on Instagram and you guys coming on our new podcast and seeing where that kind of went. And I mean, here we are now and we're doing it again. And I foresee
dude,
some more episodes in the future if you guys are obviously down for it.
absolutely. Dude, I have made, like, I was just going off on a tangent, but you reminded me of something. This band not only has it like given me so many musical opportunities, but I have made so many good friends through this band. People I met at shows. Even my girlfriend that I'm like madly in love with, I met her because
Mhm.
she was like a fan of the band. Like I am so grateful to be in this band for so many different reasons. It's the best kind of music I'd ever want to make, in my opinion. The guys in the band are my best friends, and it has just checked so many boxes in my life. Some people might not realize, but it has, that I've never thought I would check already, and we've barely
Mhm.
gotten started. And like obviously it led me to like my girlfriend, and just I'm so happy to be here, man. I
That's
couldn't
awesome.
ask for a better band to be in, honestly. So
I,
happy.
dude, life is what you make it. At the end of the day, if you don't do anything with your life, then that's what your life is. Part of the reason that Morgan and I started Coffee and Sugar, and we probably talked about it when we first met, of like what we wanted to kind of set out and do, is the music world is huge. I mean, it's just that's the facts. And we're not the first people to do a podcast about music. We're not the first people to try to create a publication to share music with other people. Like it's nothing new, but it's what we have, I think, at an advantage is our interests, because that's what makes us unique as a
Yeah,
podcast, as a publication. It's my interest and it's Morgan's interest, as well as Fam and Dylan's interest of music that we enjoy. And if people subscribe to that, then we've done our job, right? If people enjoy what we're putting out, the music that we're sharing, it ranges from the pop music that you hear on the radio to people you've never heard of in your life, right? Like if we like it, that's what we're sharing. That's what Coffee and Sugar kind of is. And so it's brought me a lot of joy in meeting people like you and other bands that I never would have ever thought about talking to on a podcast like this, right?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I've made a ton of friends just doing this. You know, you guys, when we first met, like we've been following you guys ever since and been able to watch your journey, which has been awesome. You know, to see you guys grow, to all the bands that we've interviewed, to watch them grow. And then the bands that we're interviewing this season who we've just recently found, very similar to when we first met you guys, we had just found y'all, right? And
Yeah.
now we're interviewing a new set of bands that we've recently found. Goalkeeper is a band that we just interviewed.
Goalkeeper. That sounds familiar. I wonder if I heard them before.
I just interviewed him this past week, and great band. Look them up. Probably in your realm. They're a kind of a pop punk band, and they have a song that literally sounds like Blink-182. Like the
Awesome.
vocal, like the lead singer sounds like Mark Hoppus. And on the podcast, I was like, yo, did he purposely sound like Mark Hoppus? Because that's immediately what I thought of. And anyways, so you know, I now get to watch them continue to grow, and they're getting ready to put out new stuff, and it's just been awesome. You know, I've made a ton of friends doing this. So to your point, yes, it's fun. The music industry is fun if you do it in a way that you don't come across as an asshole or that you have an ego. Like we're all just trying to be noticed and accomplish the same thing.
I always tell myself, like, even if the band has already peaked, it's still the greatest joy of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful for it. Even if we don't get anywhere else, I'm still going to always love it because it just, at the end of the day, has brought me so much joy.
I feel like you guys are on a fantastic path. And I'm not just saying that because we're on a podcast. I think what you guys have, the steps that you all have taken, you know, getting a manager, working with a professional recording studio, and producing your music the way that you're doing and marketing yourselves, like you're taking the steps that will put you in a position to garner and gain even more of a following than you already have. Like I'm looking at your Spotify, you have 11,500 monthly listeners. That's nothing to just scoff at, you know, like,
yeah, thank you.
The people that have, you know, 100 monthly listeners, 1,000, 5,000 want to be where you're at. So it's kind of like a perspective game, right? Like you want to be where the 20,000 monthly listeners people are. That's like y'all's next goal is like, we want to hit 20,000, right? You know, the people behind you that are at 5,000 want to be in the 10 to 15,000 kind of range. And so it's a game of perspective, but you guys are continuing, at least from what I've seen, to move forward in a positive direction and put out some quality content. So it's been just fun to watch.
I appreciate you saying that, especially with like the Spotify thing, because obviously, like, you know, sometimes you're only, I say it's the greatest joy of my life, no matter how big or small it gets, but you are also like always just never satisfied and want to be better. And you do have to remind yourself that, like, hey man, like 2 years ago you would have killed to want to be where you are now.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that and, you know, honestly giving me that reminder because you need to hear it sometimes. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love thinking and looking at things in different perspectives because I feel like that it takes the stress that you may be feeling and kind of rids it, because like, you know, no one's perfect and no one's life is perfect. It may seem like it sometimes from the outside, but like everyone has their internal struggles and what they're doing. And, you know, mental health is a whole topic, right? That we could talk about for a long time. And I've had my fair share of struggles with that and recents. So, you know, things can be bad, things can be good, and it's how you deal with them, how you look at it that, you know, kind of determines the outcome and how you feel as a person. And again, I could talk about this shit for a long time just because I've thought about it a lot, as I'm sure you have, right? You know, it's one of those things, but perspective is super important because you guys are crushing it. You know, I have friends that have just recently started making music and putting things on Spotify that are very down on themselves and not happy with where they're at because they're like, it's not getting attention. It's, you know, I'm seeing my monthly listeners after a release go down and it's not going up. And, you know, am I not good? Am I bad? Like those stresses are what people and that are just getting started are feeling. And it's like, dude, you're here. Like you just started, right? And you know, it's hard to kind of get over that hump of, am I good enough? Right? Like, are we even good enough to be where, you know, a Mayday parade is, right? Where an all-time
Yeah.
low, where a sleeping with sirens, where, you know, those, but they all started at the same place. I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I'm sure you've heard that before, but like everyone starts
Oh, yeah.
somewhere, you know, and so my point in saying all of that is like you guys are killing it, and I'm super stoked that we're able to have this conversation. And I've had fun. This has been cool.
Yeah, man, and we'll definitely do another one, and let's do a whole episode where we can talk about like mental health and stuff like that, because
That'd
that's a
be so
whole
dope.
episode in itself. And
That'd
I
be
have a
so
lot that
dope.
I have to say about that too. You know, not going to get into it now, but I've dealt with my fair share of bad experiences in that regard. So we could do a whole thing on that, man. So let's do that
Oh,
sometime.
I'd be totally down. I mean, I say it
It's a
and
little
I've already
different
said
than
it.
what you do, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a therapist by any means, but the point is it's not talked about enough, and that's just kind of the facts of it. So, but absolutely, that'd be fun. I'd really enjoy it. I say fun, but like meaningful, you know, like
yeah, it would
meaningful
be
fun.
interesting. It would be,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
let's do it.
but I know it. I know it's getting late there, so I'm gonna wrap up. I have two questions for you.
All right.
The first one is probably a lot of what we already talked about. You know, anything you want to tell the people that are listening about Ivypaint, things to look forward to, if you can, and kind of any sort of announcements that you got.
All right, let's see. I'm just gonna go through the basics. We just put out our first single of the year. It's called "Bugging Out." It's available on all streaming platforms. Um, we're gonna be putting out music all throughout the year, pretty much every other month. We have merchandise out. If you go to like any of our socials, like our Instagram bio, just click the link. It's all there. We recently launched ivypaintband.com, so you can find all of the tour dates there that we're going to be releasing soon. We've got a summer tour booked, just not announced yet. Catch us at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, if you're there. And yeah, get ready just for a lot more shows. Our manager's goal for us is 40 shows this year.
Nice.
So be on the lookout there. Just lots coming, and basically the band is not going to go dark at all this year.
Cool. Awesome. That's great to hear. And I look forward to some sneak peeks.
Yes, sir. Got you.
Just wanted to make sure I remind you about that one.
I got you.
And then, all right, second, but last question. And last question is, and I don't know if we talked about it. I don't think we just started doing this, but how do you like your coffee?
How do I? Okay. See, here's the thing about me. My first job was working at Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh man.
And working at Dunkin' Donuts, you can have all the free coffee you want. So in the 2.5 years that I worked there, I experimented with so many different types of coffee to the point where I kind of love it all. But I will say I don't really do like lattes or cappuccinos because that's mainly milk and less of coffee or espresso.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that the best tip that I can give you for coffee and what I prefer, because like I said, I'm pretty broad. I like it all. But if you want to make your coffee last, don't use dairy. Use like almond milk or whatever, because it's not going to spoil as quickly. So if you want to like leave your coffee sitting out for 2 hours and then reheat it, you don't have to worry about like milk going bad or anything like that. Like just use almond milk, because you got an iced coffee and it's been sitting out all day, dude, just throw some ice cubes in it and it's good to go. You don't have to worry about spoiled dairy. It's
Mm,
not that I'm like lactose intolerant or anything like that, or vegan. It it has a longer lifespan if you don't use dairy in your coffee and you use substitutes. So I'm gonna
that's a
say
good tip.
I like my coffee with non-dairy milk.
Okay. All right.
There's the answer.
That's good to know. So I'll tell you mine. I just actually recently started drinking coffee in like the last year.
Okay.
Probably like right over a year now that I've been really drinking coffee. Um, and I hated coffee before. My nickname in college was Coffee. And people just thought I liked coffee, which is just not the case. My last name's Kaufman and coffee was easier to say. So
Yeah.
I was Coffee and Coffee and Sugar. Morgan's last name is Sugars. It just
Yeah,
worked.
no, it's brilliant.
Yeah, but I started drinking coffee more regularly this past year, and I don't like the bitterness of coffee. So like I'm a 75% coffee kind of guy, 25% really sweetened sugar, like creamer. It's my go-to. And so
Hot or ice?
hot.
Hot? Okay.
Yeah. I've never really had iced coffee, so I can't say if I don't like it or not. But
Oh,
if you have a
dude, give it a
recommendation
shot.
for a good, I mean, is it basically like taking what I have in the morning that's hot and just putting it on ice? Is that like,
Okay, but I would say if you're gonna get an iced coffee for your first time, don't make it yourself. Get it from like
okay.
a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks because they brew it differently. So like they don't just take the hot coffee mug and pour it over ice.
hmm
They have their hot coffee and then they have their coffee that they keep chilled. So
Yeah.
it tastes so I would go I mean, I'm biased. I like Dunkin' Donuts the best.
There's not many Dunkin' Donuts down in Texas, so
All
Starbucks
right,
is going to
where do
be the
you
go-to.
Starbucks? All
Yeah.
right. I'm gonna say I'm gonna be safe. Or just get you're gonna want to get almond milk,
hmm
as I would say, and you're gonna
hmm
get almond milk. You're gonna get ask for like 4 pumps of caramel. Don't get sugar too. Just get caramel because the caramel's sweet enough. So
hmm
just get an iced coffee with 4 pumps of caramel and almond milk.
Okay.
But dude, Starbucks isn't for me though. Like, I mean, I'll drink it, but I just don't recommend Starbucks to
hmm
anyone because I feel like their coffee tastes burnt. But that's just me.
Well, that's what I mean, we have local coffee shops too. So, I mean, I can
Okay.
go to a local coffee shop. Like there's so many here in Denton. So,
Actually, no. I'm gonna take back what I just said, and
okay.
you should write this down. You should just swap the 4 pumps of caramel for hazelnut. Get a hazelnut iced coffee with almond milk.
All right. I'm gonna write
Yeah,
this down.
yeah, hazelnut iced
Hazelnut.
coffee with
All
almond milk.
right.
Can't go wrong, dude. So good.
I will report back to you once I have this.
Let's hear. Yeah, dude. Oh shit, I'm excited now.
Well, cool, man. Well, that's really all I had for you today, and I'm really stoked that we were able to do this. It was a fun conversation, and you know, I feel like now with the podcast and these conversations, they just have flown so much better, just kind of from topic to topic versus like, in the beginning, we were just like, we want to do this good. So we like had all the questions and all that stuff. And we realized very quickly that that's just not how you that's not how you do a podcast. Like questions come up naturally based off the conversation that you're already having. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's what we really wanted to focus on. So I really hope you enjoyed the conversation. I know I did.
No, dude, you kept it like authentic, and I like that. Like it was more of just a conversation, and it was less of an interview and more of a conversation, and I like that. So.
Yeah. No, cool. Well, I'm glad, man. I'm gonna let you get going. I
All right, man.
probably should go to bed. I got work pretty early in the morning. But thanks again, and keep me posted on anything. Send us whatever you guys want us to share, and we got you. And
Thanks, man.
We're excited to see more out of you, man.
When's this coming out, by the way?
So ideally, we're putting Boys of Fall out next week, and then the following week we're doing Goalkeeper. Because of how close they are to each other, maybe we'll do double drops. So we'll let you know though. I'll shoot you over an email and we'll get it figured out.
Just wondering, no reason. I was just wondering.
Shoot me over a photo, a promo photo, and I think I still have y'all's logo, but just in case, shoot that over too.
Yeah, I got you, man.
All right.
Do you want like a me photo, like drumming or something?
Well, I was just gonna put the band on there if that was cool with you.
Yeah, I got you. I didn't know if you wanted me because I was talking to you or you wanted the whole band. I got you.
Yeah, let's just. I'll put. I'll put Jason of Ivypaint on the thing.
Sorry, Sean couldn't make it tonight.
No, it's all good. It's all good. All right, man.
All right, man. Be safe.
Peace out. Rock out. We'll talk soon.
Later, dude.
Fooling around with that old ex of yours. Look how the tables turn.
Well, how the turntables.
The bigger pictures, I won't miss you. At least not as much as I missed her. Just admit it, love. I know you did it, love. So pack your bags and take your shit and call it quits, love. The bigger pictures, I won't